Afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to invite my fellow scholars to give a big thank you to all the people in the room who've helped us to get where we are today and to get what we've done under our belt. So if you could join me in appreciation, that's great. It's really much appreciated. Now, I believe I am next to there. Here I am, that's me. In true teaching style, okay, you see the faces, all right? I've got a starter. I think it's been embedded in my brain so much I've been trained and everyone's smiling, we all know this. We have to come to starter and it's really easy, okay? Have a think. Now while you're thinking of the anagram, I was going to bring some year 7s to sit in the back and hum the countdown tune, but the paperwork was horrendous and I couldn't have guaranteed that I would have got off the tube with the same number of year 7s that I got on the tube with. Okay, we all know that. Computer science, okay, that's why we're all here, it's great. I'm going to go through a little bit about me and where I've come from and how I've got here, okay, because it's a journey. The whole thing with the BCS has been a journey. My honours degree is in geology. I'm just going to check there's no one with a big hook that's going to pull me off. You're in the wrong building. No. I did a master's degree in environmental geochemistry, okay, and so you're still thinking, why is he here? Why is he in IT? Well, I decided to switch, okay. At the end of that, I got myself a job. I was building websites for 13 years using Cold Fusion as a language. In 2010, I won the Web Development Entrepreneur of the Year for the UK, which was great, a personal success. It's something I was very driven towards getting. Towards that, I earned a lot of knowledge with regards to what I did and how the industry works and how people value the internet. So I had a lot of experience and I thought I wanted to switch. Okay, so last year I started initial teacher training over in Colchester, about an hour away on the train. Okay, my PowerPoint did say I started it in 21:30, which was a bit wrong, so I just quickly changed that one before. So why the switch? Why did I do it? I mean, even my students say to me, but sir, if you were building websites for so long, if you built this but that, why are you here teaching me? You know, with all this chaos going on, why are you here? Well, it's simple. It was time. It's time. It was the right time. We've all had those moments where we think, right, okay, yeah, I'll go for this. I mean, I was in my job. I was doing well. I'd won several awards, but I needed a new challenge to go on. No one likes being stale. You know, people like to be good at what they do, but they want challenges. They want to move on. And it was time. So I did, and it came along at the right time. The computer science curriculum was kicking in. There was murmurs that was going to be all change. So it just fitted in perfectly with what I wanted to make a change. And for me, deeply important one is to give back what's helped me, because I would say, unfortunately, but if it wasn't for it, I wouldn't be where I am now. When I was at school, I was orphaned, and at the time it was difficult, but I had a lot of support from my teachers, so much support. And they really helped me. They didn't squeeze me into a little bubble and say, do this and do that. They were around, they looked after me, they helped me. And it wasn't until I was mid-20s where there's still some things that were sort of just dripping, the realisations, oh, I went to a private school, who paid my fees? Who got my uniform? Who did this? Who did that? And it was all looked after by my teachers. And if they hadn't have done that from the distance to help look after me, who knows, you know, I could have gone off the rails or anything, but I didn't, and it's definitely something that I realised in my adult life that I wanted to have a chance to give back and help, okay? So using the skills I'd learnt in industry, given the fact that my job was getting a little bit stale, as much as I was good at it, I wanted a new change. Those two things with the computer curriculum came along, it was a perfect time to make the switch. So how did I switch? I looked for the training courses available, as you do. I saw the BCS scholarships, again, that were for computing. It was all, I don't know, you think the stars are lining up sometimes, don't you? It's weird. I thought the time was right, the course was right, there were potentially scholarships available, so I applied, and luckily enough, I was fortunate to be awarded one, along with these wonderful people as well, okay? And I'm sure you'd echo that it's made the whole experience better, easier, more you can put your energy into it more. We're not having to worry about things that we may have had to worry about otherwise. So it's really good. I mean, just so grateful for it. And it's not just about the money. The money helps with the bills, the mortgage, keeps my boy in his football lessons on a Saturday, keeps him happy so he's learning. It's not disrupting his education. I don't have to stop him doing things. But the advice has been fab from colleagues, from Cass, loads of stuff on the websites. I've had fantastic help from Jeremy and his crew. It's great. I've lost words. Okay, the tough parts. There have been some difficult bits, and we've all been that little man under that rock. And I think 2 weeks ago, I was that little man under that rock with 2 year 9s jumping up and down on top of it, trying to make it that little bit heavier. Okay? And getting to know the students for me was quite difficult, because in my professional environment, where I was dealing with many people qualified like yourselves, over the course of 10 years, I can't number the people I spoke to or dealt with or built websites for. But to go from working with the same people daily, weekly, monthly, to go into a classroom when you see a different 30 faces every 60 minutes, it was quite a big shock. It was tough. And there we go, behaviour management. You guys, thankfully, were all sat there behaving. I've not seen anyone poking each other yet or trying to, throw chairs or eating sweets or whatever they're doing. That's great, so thank you. But again, it's difficult to switch from being in an industry with people like yourselves to people industry with children who, let's admit, they don't always want to be there, particularly the year 9s at the moment who are a week or two away from going, ICT, whoa, I don't have to do that again, I'm not taking that. It's a challenge to keep them, so they come in your classroom, they listen, they work, and they do well and they progress. And then there's the little bits. I might say a few sighs from over here, a few nods. Planning lessons, marking the work, reports, dealing with parents, disciplining people. It keeps you busy, doesn't it? Yeah? I'm not being an advocate and saying it's the hardest job in the world, because it can't be. There must be harder jobs, but it is difficult. But if something's not difficult, it's not worth doing, is it, really? No one wants to sit there and just do easy things all the time. You need a challenge. Okay. So then, we've had the tough bits. We've got the enjoyable parts. There's me, occasionally, most of the time. All of it, it's all great. It's something that I wanted to do, wanted to get into, to try and make a difference. As I say there, hard work gets you everywhere. I try and instill that to the students. Some year 10s will argue and argue, but it does get you everywhere. You reap what you sow. We all know that. And it's so rewarding, okay, to have a class where you sit there and you've got them off and they're doing their work, and all of a sudden you just see someone. So it's like being in bingo. You see, yes, and you think, pennies dropped, they've got it. Okay, that's great. It's so rewarding. And then they come up to you, sir, I've done this, and I can't, and they can't tell you fast enough what they've done because they're so proud they've done it, and then they tell their friends. And you do go home at the end of the day, and you think, good, they've learnt something, I've helped them, they listen to me. It's brilliant. But it's entirely rewarding. And going back to what I said before about the help I had from my teachers, you don't know who you're helping, okay? I mean, we're helping them for 60 minutes at a time, but if you can be an effective teacher for a student 20, 30 years down the line, they may sit back and think, oh, yeah, well, Mr. Smith, he was all right, he helped me, I learnt this. And may or may not, but if one of them does or someone does further down the line, it's great to be helpful to someone. And it gets appreciated because I've been there and I've had those thoughts. It's great. Again, making a difference. Students any age, sometimes it can be the small things that they really appreciate. So progress over the year. We've heard a lot about different methods of teaching and how students can use different things. That's a Lego Mindstorms robot. They are fantastic. Okay, I don't work for Lego, I promise. But the children love them. They have touch sensors, and it turns a computer into something that's physical, that does things. It responds to me. Okay, because I know phones do that. You pull your phone out, you send a text, and someone else's phone buzzes. It does it. But it's so blasé now. Children do it all the time. Something different in the classroom. They love it. It can break it down as computational thinking. We started with the difference between ICT and computing. So more of ICT being a skill set that you have that you use. You can use available technologies. You can consume them. And computing is when you step back and you think, well, how about who makes these things? They don't grow on trees. How do they work? Let's think about it. Let's decompose things and figure things out. So I taught programming using Lego robots, as I said. They love that. They are quite expensive, but they're a really good hook for children. It's a great way of getting them to see that not everything digital is digital. It can turn into physical things. It's along what you're saying, along with the lines of gaming. Gaming, it makes people think, it makes them query themselves, it makes them evaluate and improve what they've done, and it gets the thought process going, really. That number's gone up now by a few. Code.org is a great site. I don't work for them either. And it's to get children thinking computationally. As has been mentioned, the software and the topics that they're learning at the moment will be obsolete in 10 years. Okay, so I can teach you how to use X, Y, or Z brilliantly, but in 20 years that's going to be no good to you. So I need to teach you how to think A, B, C. So when you go ahead in your career, you still know how to think that, and you can apply that to whatever you want to do. So the future. We've touched on this a little bit before. Children are coming into schools with much more knowledge of ICT compared to what they used to be. The number of times I've asked Year 7s, who knows how to do this? And the whole class will put their hand up. It's like, okay, great. So you're doing more. And the general trend is that they can tackle Year 8 work in Year 7 easy, Year 9 work in Year 8. So we need to give them the more challenges. So the computing curriculum is definitely more of a challenge for them. It's timely, it's really good, it's great. Stretch them a bit more, ask them more questions, get them thinking for themselves, stop them being such passive users and get them to think of things. So, who knows what's going on, but I hope the future curriculum will link into the things that employers want. We've got lots of employees here we're grateful for. They've stood up and told us what they're expecting and what they need and what they're looking for in people they hire. It's up to us, guys, to make sure we can help the students as much as possible fit in with the skills of what's required. And then my last one is a picture of the Hubble Telescope. Now, people may be thinking that, he's put that there because it's a computing masterpiece, it helps humanity, we found loads of information out about things, and it sees into the stars, and we can look at the bigger picture, which is all true, but I've put it there for a different reason. I want to teach children to think outside the box or look at things from different angles, okay? So I want children to come up to me and ask me questions such as, "Sir, there's that telescope that sees millions of stars?" Yeah. "Well, instead of having one telescope that looks at a few thousand stars, why don't we have 20 of those that look at the same stars so that the other 19 can see what that's showing us is the right thing?" Okay? They're the kind of questions that we need to teach our students to start asking, the bigger things, the out-the-box questions. And thanks to the support and help that we've all had from the BCS, with backing from everyone, you've given us a good footing from which we can go forward to start educating our students to start thinking down that line. Thank you.